Hello, namaste, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, or maybe even good evening, in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepakar Kewlani, and I am one of the co-founders of Bloom. Bloom was founded during the pandemic by Payal Irani and a group of 4 others, including Premraj, Abhijit, and Dr. Neeta Matre Mishra. Today is the 99th consecutive Sunday episode of the Bloom Talk Show. For 99 continuous weeks, we have been doing this program where we have a guest, either from India, a local, national, or international, somebody who is doing his or her bit to change the world, somebody who is trying to inspire others, somebody who is trying to motivate others, somebody who is an example for others, somebody who is helping the world become a better place. Let me take this opportunity to share with you about our upcoming 100th episode. Next Sunday, this time we will be at the St. Regis Hotel, where we are celebrating our 100th episode. There's going to be a book launch by 12 international and Indian co-authors who have written their stories, who have turned around their lives from a point where there was total gloom to today where it is simply bloom. From gloom to bloom. This is happening next Sunday, the 100th episode, exclusively for those people who will be sent an invite. If you feel you would like to attend this program, reach out to Payal. This number will be shared in the chat. There is a special invitation price to attend this function. Next Sunday is going to be the 100th Bloom Talk Show. Do not miss it. On the 99th episode today, we have a special guest who is joining us. Let me introduce my co-host, Mr. Premraj. Premraj, one of the co-founders of Bloom and an author, #1 best-selling author of 5 books. Or is it 6, Premraj?
It's 5 now.
It's 5.
Working on the 6th.
Working on the 6th. So 5 books who became #1 bestsellers. Premraj is an ex-banker. He's worked in both the public and private sector space. And now he has been recently installed as the president of the Borivali chapter of the Rotary Club. Congratulations to you, Premraj.
Thank you.
Over to you. Please take the show ahead, introduce our guest, and let's.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you for that very kind introduction. We have on the show, our 99th episode, a very, very special guest in Neenu, who is a fun-loving and social person. Meeting people and networking are our oxygens to life. The aggressiveness stems from her parents who were determined to get her educated against all odds. The typical liberal trait in her always had love for fashion jewelry and artifacts, where she tried her hand at exporting them for a few years. Later, she took up to telemarketing and also dabbled in voiceovers and did a radio jockey course. Her outlook, a turn that she joined ADAPT rights group to work towards rights and entitlements of people with disabilities. Currently, she is also part of other NGOs such as Meena Foundation, Access for All Social Foundation, Trimania and Sukruti Foundation, and UMOJA, to name a few. She has presented papers and addressed different groups like architects, doctors, lawyers, travel and tourism, and many more on different aspects of disability. She has penned many articles in various newspapers and magazines across the country. She has also participated in the Mumbai Marathon for 5 years. Activism empowered her to work in the HR department of one of the leading consulting firms for 4 years. Currently, she is with a family business, an offset printing press. To keep her love for communication alive, she is an active and senior member of Toastmasters International, an international platform for enhancing communication and leadership skills. Her achievements, to name a few, are on being confirmed with the late Srimati Sunita Devi Kailashpat Singhania Award on 9th of December 2009 by NASEOH, a well-known NGO. This was in recognition of her outstanding achievement in the disability sector for the past 10 years. She received the same from Justice Dharmadhikari, retired. She successfully completed a project on a lifetime titled Beyond Banners, Incredible India Tour, where she got the opportunity to travel around the whole of India by road, completing an incredible 19,000 kilometers in 84 days under the banner of Vijay Merchant Rehabilitation Center for the Disabled. This was in 2011. She was crowned as a first Miss Wheelchair India for a beauty pageant which was held in November 2013. This was the first time in the country. Her goal in life is to make our country barrier-free and get acceptance by the society to include people with disabilities in mainstream life. Welcome to the show, Neenu. Quite a CV, quite a bio. Pretty, very impressive. So I believe you have a PPT presentation that you would like to show. You have been given screen sharing rights. So please let us have a look at it. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bloom World, Payalji, Premraji. I am very, very honored, and it's my privilege to be here. And before I go ahead, heartiest congratulations to Bloom World for this 99th episode. I feel really honored. And congratulations for completing the 100th episode next Sunday. And I'm sure my best wishes are to all of you for the successful, ceremony, celebration, the book launch next Sunday. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Why me? Why me? Oh God, I have a pimple here and I failed only by 2 marks. Oh God, I lost my promotion to that colleague once again. Oh God, why me every time? Friends, some of you might relate to the self-bickering that I just shared, right? Whether it is a promotion, employment, marks, or a pimple, the looks, and the way people comment or compliment you or do not compliment you. We are all the time self-bickering, self-judging ourselves, don't we? Now, let me take you back to my bickering days. When I was only 9 months old, I contracted polio and scoliosis. Scoliosis is a curvature of spine, some curves of my life. I grew up in a building, a 4-story building, which had no lift, and I had to be carried every day up and down those stairs. You can see barriers. And this is how our life is for the most of the people who have to be dependent on others. I had to be carried down every day when I was growing up. When I entered my teens, slowly the feeling of being sculpted from a wrong mold crept into me. Because I was growing up, I became more and more conscious of the way people looked at me, and I realized that there was something different about me, wrong with me. I felt conscious. Imagine, as a teenager, you are carried around in spite of being grown up. Wouldn't you get psyched? You would. I could not attend regular college due to lack of suitable infrastructure. I'm sure you all of you out there have seen most of the colleges, most of the universities, or for that matter, even the educational institutions, they are not disabled friendly. But I could, though I did not attend a regular college due to lack of infrastructure, but I was very lucky. I had a lot of friends around my neighborhood. As teenagers, they celebrated Rose Day. I'm sure all of you remember that, where you exchange roses with each other and propose or even make friends. And I remember I would look at my friends giggle away with the roses in their hands while I looked down at my empty hands with rivers of tears flowing down my cheeks. Why me? Why me? Later, I completed my graduation through distance learning from Mumbai University. As you know, most of the colleges, as I said, are not accessible. So I had to complete my education from home. Many teenagers have to discontinue their studies once they step into teens because it's really a struggle, a challenge to be carried at that age, and one feels extremely embarrassed and awkward. I opted to complete my graduation from home, and I was fortunate to have a strong support from my friends. Post my graduation, I experimented with different careers. I started designing and selling handmade jewelry. Later, I got passionate about voiceovers and I wanted to become a radio jockey. Why not? But again, I failed due to the lack of accessible infrastructure. And why is that? Because though I had a good voice and I even trained and I even used to sing, when I called up, when I used to send my demo cassette, in those days, we used to have CDs. So I used to send my CDs by courier to these production houses where they require voices. When they would hear my voice, they would be extremely impressed, and they would like talk all good things on the phone. Yes, yes, ma'am, we like your voice. Why don't you come for audition? And I used to be thrilled. But as soon as they saw me, the whole attitude would change. And I purposely never mentioned on the phone that I was disabled. I was a wheelchair user. Why should I? Because it is the talent of my voice and nothing to do with my physical mobility. But the moment I entered their office, their studio, the whole outlook, the whole attitude would change. And sadly, the studios were not designed for wheelchairs. Like I remember even going to a radio station. They said, ma'am, you cannot get around, with the turntable and that entire thing that they have. They said you'll not be able to, handle the equipment, operate it. So sorry, even if you're qualified, even if we like your voice, you have a knack to talk, but you cannot do it out of the physical infrastructure. Now tell me, friends, was that my fault that our country is not designed to suit the needs of people with disabilities, senior citizens, pregnant women, and those temporarily injured? Is it our fault? No. So every time I failed due to the lack of infrastructure, I question myself, why me? Why me? मेरे साथ ही क्यों होता है? Moving on, in June 1999, I joined an NGO as a volunteer, which worked for the rights and entitlements of people with disability. As a core team of the rights group, we started a movement for making India barrier free for all. Initially, everyone, including my own family, was against this initiative. Instead, they advised me to accept the infrastructure just the way it was and live with it, like how we all do. Chalta hai, chalne do. But mind you, I was very determined. I stuck to my guns. I went ahead and I got involved in the advocacy and activism. I participated in street plays, morchas, dharnas, panel discussions, even PILs. Basically, the objective was to sensitize the concerned government authorities and the society at large, because it was nothing to do with the law. All the policies, everything is in place. The building code, there is also a manual which is designed by the CPWD. There's a guideline, the manual, which clearly gives you the entire dimensions of how a barrier-free infrastructure environment can be built. But tell me, which builder, which architect really uses it? There is no implementation. And is there any penalization? Friends, tell me, today, if a project has to be passed under the BMC and get a certificate to go ahead, until and unless the fire department officer does not come onto the site and looks at all the fire safety norms and does not give his signature to go ahead, no project will go on the floor. So tell me, why is it when there is all the law, all the policies in place, phir bhi all the new buildings, all the new facilities, malls, hospitals, schools, colleges, clinics, banks, the new parks, you see everything is being built. But where is the facilities for people with disabilities? How do these projects get a go ahead? Where is the penalization? There's none. And is there anybody objecting it? Nobody. Chalta hai. That's how we are. So basically, going back to my journey, when I joined the NGO, I got the strength, I got the platform to do something about the system. So I remember during that time, a girl named Sandra from our neighborhood near around our NGO, she reached out to us for help. She could not attend her Sunday mass due to the absence of, access to the church. Hence, she wanted us to take some action. So one busy morning, what happened to her was, one busy morning, she was rushing to work. She was like a normal girl, a normal Catholic girl. She was getting ready to go to work. She slipped into her own bathroom while taking a shower, and she fell on her back, and her spine was damaged. She was paralyzed, waist down forever. A simple fall in her own house changed her life 360-degree within a few minutes. How unpredictable life can be. ये किसी के साथ भी हो सकता है. You don't have to be born disabled or become disabled, during childhood. Disability can happen anytime at any age. Even old age is sort of disabling, because you have so many limitations then in your movement. So, life can be so unpredictable. But do we stop living then? Do you get bedridden and forget about the world, your dreams? No. But the infrastructure has to be conducive to give you a second chance to live your life, to bounce back. Where is the framework? So Going back to Sandra, she wanted us to connect with the church authorities and convince them to make changes within their premises. Obviously, we got into action, we connected with the church, and after a lot of pushing and convincing, they finally agreed. And friends, it was a mission accomplished when Sandra attended her first Sunday Mass post her accident after 4 long years. The church not only made a permanent ramp, but they also reserved a parking space for those with disabilities. This was a first victory and my insightful moment of how I could triumph over challenges with my own strength. So while my life took a turn on a journey to change our infrastructure, one day my NGO, it filed a PIL against the BEST, the public transport system in Mumbai, to make their buses accessible for all. You can see how challenging, how difficult it is for those with disability to get in and out of not only the buses but also the train, which are supposed to be the lifeline of our city. So that is how my NGO, it filed a case against them, and I obviously was part of it, the whole PIL. So I remember it was in 2003 when I represented my NGO for the first hearing of this PIL, and I wheeled into the High Court building at Fort. It was disheartening to know that there is no access to reach even the elevator at the High Court building itself. Look at the irony. I had to be carried up the steps to reach the elevator to go to the courtroom on the second floor. And to aggravate things further, I had to wait for 2 hours before my hearing came. So I waited in the corridor. So while I was waiting, I stay at Mahim and I had to go to the fort. वहाँ 2 घंटे रुकना था, and it would be another 1 hour to come back. And I don't know how much time my hearing would take. So imagine you're out of the house for almost 4-5 hours and you want to use a washroom. तुम क्या करोगे? I wanted to do that. I wanted to use a washroom. And to my horror, I found that there was not a single accessible washroom in the entire High Court building, and neither in the vicinity anywhere around. But before I could ask myself again, why me? I stopped and I stepped back and I said, no, I will not let this nonsense happen to me again and again. So as soon as I entered the chamber, I confronted the judge. आप मुझे मेरा हक दिलाने की सुनवाई कर रहे हो, पर यहाँ हो रही ना इंसाफी का क्या? Where was my right to access the High Court building with dignity? Where was my right to use a wheelchair-friendly washroom? Where was the justice under this roof itself? So this statement shook the entire, the courtroom. And it was like an aha moment for them, everyone, including the judge himself. He realized that yes, there are certain sections of the society that cannot access the High Court building and were unable to use the basic amenities within the premises. जो हमारा हक है, जो हमारा हक है. He assured us, when he saw the whole seriousness and the, what I should say, the whole ignorance that has been happening since years, he realized that. So he assured me, he assured my lawyer. stating that under the law, every citizen was equal and had right to access public spaces and amenities. And friends, in spite of being a heritage structure, the High Court, a permanent ramp and a disabled friendly washroom was constructed and inaugurated on the World Human Rights Day. I would like to show you. Yeah, can you see? That's the permanent ramp at the High Court building. And it's a heritage building जहाँ आप एक कील भी नहीं लगा सकते. But as a right, as the law, they had to do it. And they said, ma'am, आपके पहले आज तक किसी ने ये आवाज ही नहीं उठाई. There are so many disabled people who have been coming to the court, but nobody has even raised a, complaint or a voice. So that is the whole thing. चलता है, चलने दो, उठा के बिठाते हैं, बिठाने दो. No, that is how we function. So this whole construction of a ramp at the High Court building and the inauguration, it was an epic moment for us. And I felt so proud to be part of this success. And this was possible because of the strong follow-up by my fellow activist friends and the whole team. It was not like one person only. It was a whole team, the whole platform, the NGO that was strongly up against it. Now, this High Court victory helped me find my purpose. I now had an answer to why me. So many years I've been asking, मेरे साथ क्यों होता है? Why? And I had the realization to why I was in this condition, why I faced challenges during my childhood. So since I wore the shoe, I knew where it hurt. जब आप उस स्थिति में होते हो, जो जख्म आपको लगे है, वो आप ही को पता है कि कहाँ हर्ट हो रहा है. I found my voice, and with the newfound support of my team, I made this movement of making a country barrier-free as the mission of my life. No, it's not about me alone, but everyone, whether you are a wheelchair user, hearing or visual or a speech impaired, or a senior citizen, barrier-free environment is critical, crucial, important for everyone. It had a whole new, huge impact on my life. So I set out as a lady with a mission to change the system. In 2001, Professor Stephen Hawking visited India, and he expressed his desire to visit the Taj Mahal at Agra. I'm sure many of you remember Sir Stephen Hawking's visit in India. And suddenly the whole tourism and hospitality sector went into frenzy. They realized that he could not visit this pride of our country on his motorized wheelchair. So within few hours, ramps were installed specially for his visit. One of a well-known five-star hotel in our city, in fact, changed the entire infrastructure of the room so that he could stay comfortably. So we at the disability sector were happy for the changes that were being made. But what was really a pain point was that in spite of being the citizen of this country, we could only dream of visiting this beautiful monument, the wonder of our country, until, Stephen Hawking comes, he wants to visit, and everything is made possible. क्यों? ये अन्याय. What an ignorance. That is Stephen Hawking. We had the privilege of meeting him at Shan Mukunanda Hall. Unhone, he had given his famous the black hole theory lecture talk over there. So you can see some of my friends from the disability sector, my NGO had, accompanying me. So it was a really, really very a big honor or privilege to meet him. And what a learning it was to having met him. So he came in 2001. In 2011, three of my friends, activist friends, Arvind, Nishant, and Sunita, and myself, all four of us wheelchair users, set out for an all India tour by road. This, you can see all four of us on the wheelchair, and there is a beyond barrier, this project called Incredible India Tour. So four of us set out on a all India tour. The purpose was to sensitize the tourism industry about the facilities for tourists with special needs, including senior citizens and pregnant women, which forms a huge revenue segment for our tourism industry. And they lose out on this because of lack of facilities. आप मुझे बताओ, आज कौन सी टूरिज्म जगह है, मिजोरम, मणिपुर, केरला, गॉड जोन कंट्री, which place, which temple can we go and there is like ramp, everything available, which guest house, which these tourism board rooms are available. The only place we can go is the 5-star hotel because they have facility. But tell me, can the entire nation, all the people with disability, can everybody afford 5-star? Can everybody afford an air flight, like a air cruising transport flight? It is so expensive. So why can't we, think of a vacation with our family and friends, just like all of you do? Annual vacation, the yearly vacation is something that every child or a teenager or anybody looks forward to. I remember when I was in school, my school used to go for picnic and even for trips outside Bombay. But I could never do that. There was no facility with the school at all to take a student with disability. The only thing I could hear when my friends would come back from a trip was talking among themselves. Are humne ye kiya, wo kiya, oh that was so good. We played on the beach, we went trekking on the mountains, itna maza aaya. And as a child, like you do not know, you're absolutely an outcast. And you want to go there, you want to play with your friends, you want to be with them. Even if not as child, when you grow up, you want to go with your family on a vacation. When I was working, I remember all my colleagues planning months ahead their leaves. It was December, Diwali time, all the colleagues, they want to go on a leave. And they're planning trips here and there. They want to go river rafting, they want to go diving and this and that. You're out of all this. But you go abroad, you see how people live. Everything is possible. And it is not a rocket science. Technology, we have the best, the brain, the pool, the think pool, we have the knowledge pool. वहां जाके हमारे यहाँ पे जो इतने technical people है, they go out there, 7 seas across, and they are creating such best technology which is used for people like living there. But what about us? Why is not that available here? So coming back to the tourism, this is how we miss out on the best pleasures of our life. The project was titled Beyond Barriers, the Incredible India Tour. We covered 28 states, 40 cities, and traveled 19,500 kilometers in 84 days. This memorable tour was an answer to all those years of why me? Why can't I travel around my beautiful country? Why can't I enjoy the beauty? I challenged the existing infrastructure and I managed to bring some thought-provoking action within the tourism and hospitality sector. This journey gave me a newfound awareness newfound confidence, a newfound appreciation of my own personality. So now I wanted to explore different facets of my life. For someone who didn't receive a single rose in her teens, I wanted to challenge the way society looked at me. And the society at large, as you all know, has always preferred fair over dark, tall over short, thin over fat. In such a scenario, women with disability are not considered pretty at all. A woman is considered complete and perfect if she is a superwoman who is tall, pretty, fair, curvaceous, and to add to that, she can do multitasking, cooking, raising children, and even pursuing a career. So, my friends, I got that opportunity to prove myself in November 2013 when, for the first time, Miss Wheelchair India Beauty pageant was being organized in Mumbai. I participated along with 40 beautiful women across India, all with disability. And we had so much fun getting dressed, looking beautiful. And you know what? I won the title. And you know what was the best part? Overnight, I got 250 friend requests on my Facebook. Here was a girl who never got even a single rose. And today she was flooded with attention from the whole world around her. It was a moment of pride for me and my parents. Oh, and they were on cloud nine, as if I was the Miss Universe that evening. I'm immensely blessed to have supporting and strong parents who are my pillars, my siblings, my extended family, and most important of all, my friends who accepted me and treated me equally. I'm fortunate to have amazing mentors in my life who handheld me and taught me how to move ahead at each step using my own wisdom and my inner guidance. Along my activism journey and my association with various NGOs, I'm lucky to have met great personalities like Professor Stephen Hawking and Dr. Abdul Kalam, His Holiness Dalai Lama, and how many of you remember the Chicken Soup for the Soul books? So I've also had the privilege of meeting Jack Canfield. He's one of the co-authors of that book. It was, really overwhelming experience meeting these big personalities, listening to them, and how they have made a lot of difference in so many people's lives. So to conclude, friends, when I look back at this curvy journey, I have learned that never compare yourself with others. Learn to love yourself just the way you are. I could break free from my mental blocks only when I found a purpose, a goal in life. When I used to ask, मेरे साथ क्यों होता है? क्यों इतनी सीढ़ियां हैं? मैं क्यों नहीं ऊपर चढ़ सकती? मैं क्यों नहीं जा सकती? I turned that around. I made it a goal to break these barriers. I was driven so strongly that I could go beyond these barriers and touch my skies. I found that purpose, the driving force. You too can find that purpose, that driving force in you, which can move your mountains, which will push you out of your bed every morning and add spring to your step. You're gifted with so much talent, wisdom, and expertise. It's up to you how best you can use it for yourself and, most importantly, for the society. We limit ourselves for a lot of things, thinking that we are not capable. But let me tell you, those limits are just in our minds. So, next time Don't question your destiny. Why me? Instead, challenge it and say, come, try me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing this incredible journey. Why me was a pointed question at society at large. And we are enamored by the steps that you have taken, especially the PIL that you filed and made the High Court do something. I'm a banker. The Reserve Bank of India had sent instructions to have ramps and other disability friendly things in branches. But while the circular came, one day I had an opportunity to visit the Reserve Bank of India office. They had no facilities. So it's one thing you expect others to do and don't do the same thing in your organizations. So we
सर
sincerely-
आरबीआई का एक म्यूजियम है, वहां पे लिफ्ट लगवाई है हमने बहुत साल पहले. मेरे पास कई फोटो भी है. I got onto that lift म्यूजियम जो बना है आपका. We got RBI to do that.
That's nice. That's nice. So we like your crusading attitude that you have to ensure that things get done. And I was just before this interview, I was just looking at some statistics, and I find, according to the last census, there are 2.1% of our population is afflicted by some disabilities. So it's really remarkable that you are taking up cuddles on their behalf and trying to do something for society. Hats off to you. I don't have any questions. I would like Deepak to take this forward, or the participants in case they have any questions.
Thank you, Premraj. I mean, this last 44 minutes have left me almost speechless. You know, otherwise we are the guys who are doing the talking, and our guest is the one who is doing the answering to our questions. This time, when she's sharing her life's journey, the difficulties which she faced and how she was able to overcome all the problems and all the challenges you had. Clearly, as you mentioned, you have had support from your family and your friends who have helped you in doing what you've become. Just one question for you before I open it up to the house to ask questions. Most activists we see are an angry lot, you know. They are always fighting. They are always fighting the system. They are fighting the government. They are fighting the courts. They are always fighting. How do you manage to keep that smiling face? You know, otherwise everybody is so very angry.
सर आपने वो भाभी जी घर पे हैं का वो जो एक फेमस डायलॉग है, सही पकड़ी है. आपने सही पकड़ा है. तो सर मेरे में भी बहुत जोश था, एंगर था when I was younger, you know. So that is why I said no. I used to question why me, and वो तो because of my talk I'm just saying why me.
Yeah.
But it was just not a question. It was also getting into fight with the system. Like I'm a movie buff, और जब हम बचपन में, जब मुझे teenager, not बचपन में, मुझे याद है गेटी गैलेक्सी में मैं गई थी, और थदानी is I think the owner और मैनेजमेंट थे उनके. तो जब व्हीलचेयर पे गई, मैंने कहा मुझे मूवी देखनी है, तो कहे कि नहीं आप अंदर नहीं आ सकते, there are no facilities for you. So I insisted. I said मैंने टिकट खरीदी है भैया, मैं I'm not coming there for free. I don't want any free charity. I've bought my ticket. I've purchased it.
Yeah.
I want to come and watch a movie. I was thrown out. He literally said, I don't need people like you. जाओ घर पर देखो. You know, that is. Then in my all India trip, when we went to the famous Tirupati temple and the Jagannath Puri temple, we were literally thrown out because our religious spaces, you know, they have absolutely strong narrow attitude when it comes to people with disabilities who want to come inside for darshan.
Yeah.
वो कहते हैं कि अपना कैलिपर्स है, जो लोग क्रचेस यूज करते हैं, कैलिपर्स दे आर वेयरिंग. इवन जयपुर फुट या जो आर्टिफिशियल लेग लगाते हैं प्रोस्थेटिक, व्हीलचेयर यूजर्स, वी आर सपोज्ड टू कीप एवरीथिंग आउट एंड गो इनसाइड. सो वी क्वेश्चन देम, भैया ये हमारे This is our extension of our bodies.
Yes.
चाहे वो wheelchair हो, prosthesis हो, cane हो, shoes हो, calipers हो. If we remove this, how are we supposed to come in? They say, don't come. We don't care. Come crawling like dogs and cats. We don't care. So I was thrown out of the Tirupati, literally manhandled. Jagannath Puri also. Guruvayur in Kerala. So that is, ऐसा नहीं कि गुस्सा नहीं आता है, उस वक्त तो ऐसा लगता है उठ के मतलब गला घोट दूं उनका, मारूं उनको पकड़ के. And being a woman, how dare you treat me like that? So the dignity as a woman with disability, कई बार it has been challenged and provoked. तो गुस्सा तो बहुत आता था, but then over the years, like now it's been what 23 years that I've been in this activism, and I know कि we are only banging our head against the walls. तो इनके अगेंस्ट ना जाकर एक इनके साथ में हैंड इन ग्लव जैसे कहते हैं, यू हैव टू वर्क पैरेलली विद देम. झगड़ा करके वो लोग गुस्सा होके, जो आपने कहा ना करेक्टली, बट इट डजंट वर्क लाइक दैट. यू हैव टू वर्क विद द सिस्टम. अगर आपको कीचड़ साफ करनी है ना, तो कीचड़ में उतरना पड़ेगा भैया उसको साफ करने के लिए. तो आप ये नहीं कर सकते कि मैं साफ सुथरा रहूंगा और मुझ पे कीचड़ नहीं उछलेगा. उछलेगा तो सही भैया आपके ऊपर, बट वो आपके ऊपर है कि फिर आप किस perspective से उसको, from what way you handle it. So it is maybe over the years my experience, as I can say, but it's not that I was always like that. And of course a lot of insight at every step. And see, I also earned a lot of accolades, and I won a lot of rewards and awards. So somewhere that compensates for the frustration and the way you are being treated. Somewhere it balances that out. So and it's up to you how you keep your mindset in check. वो बहुत ही tricky एक वो point हो जाता है moment. How you keep your cool. तो वो एक जोश होता है, blood वो एक अपनी जगह है. But I think it's a step, it's a maturity at every step, everything that you go through that sets in, and वो आ जाता है. आपको पता है कि आप दीवार के अगेंस्ट अपना सर फोड़ रहे हो, you realize कि चोट आपको लग रही है, दीवार तो कुछ नहीं हो रही है. So you have to use a tact, you have to use your wisdom how to overcome it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, very, very well said, Neelu. Really, I mean, every word you said completely resonates with the thought process we have. The only problem is we, and when I say the 90% we of what Premraj said, the normal people in India do not even understand the difficulty a differently abled person goes through on a regular basis, morning to evening, day on day, every day throughout their life. I mean, it is unimaginable that you need to go to a court and then you get a sympathetic judge who realizes, yes, ये जो बोल रही है सही है, and we need to get a ramp done, just वो चीज कराने के लिए it takes ages, years.
Just now I think in the comment section, was it Alka ji or somebody who mentioned that the High Court people do not have, or was it Brenda ma'am?
Brenda. Yeah.
She said अभी भी वहाँ facilities नहीं है, बल्कि हमने तो एक washroom बनवाया भी था, but I think over the years they have removed it because that was supposed to, there was a storeroom below the staircase. तो storeroom को उन लोगों ने convert करके toilet बना दिया था, but I think again they went back and maybe removed it. I don't know, because उसके बाद मेरे कोई जरूरत नहीं पड़ी जाने की, by God's grace कोर्ट जाने की. I don't know.
Yeah, towards the end they must have thought ये बना लिया, कोई यूज तो कर नहीं रहा है, इसे अच्छा तोड़ देते हैं. और
तो सर वही एक है, क्योंकि वो जो केस है वो भी काफी सालों चला, and we even won the case, and the BST was asked to make 30 buses, disabled friendly buses, and we ourselves went and audited it. Tata Motors की थी, पूरा वो जैसे एयरपोर्ट पे जो रनवे पे बस शटल बसेस होती है ना, लोअर फ्लोर एंड द रैंप आ जाता है, बिल्कुल वैसा टाटा मोटर्स ने बनवाया था. हमने बैठ के उनसे वो डिजाइन, एंड देयर वर 30 buses also flying on the Mumbai roads, but sadly over the years they tapered it off. They made it into mobile bill buses, mobile collection. So it is, तो वो So it is a vicious circle. वो कहते हैं कि there is nobody using it, and we every time we went to them, we said कि where are the routes? हमको bus stop और routes तो बताओ, so that you know at least have those buses next to the NGOs, next to the schools, next to the hospitals, because that is where maximum where people with disability you will see. So if you have it right outside around that vicinity, the bus stop and the bus coming, तो पता भी तो चलेगा ना. So it went on and on in circles. They said we don't have people like you using it, and we said we do not see the buses. Routes का कुछ पता नहीं है. So it just tapered off.
Yeah. So probably the airports and the other part is hospitals. These are the only two places which are like, almost fully equipped to handle people with disabilities. But recently, ek mahina pehle, we were reading that case which happened with Indigo. A differently abled child wasn't allowed to board because he wasn't behaving properly. Uske baad bhi, there are problems which all these people go through, have to face on a regular basis, which is sad. And
sir, even hospitals are not fully equipped. Let me tell you, I was admitted twice, one at Asian Heart and one at Leelavati, in a span of different 10 years, for something to do with breathlessness. Now, because of scoliosis, I have compressed lungs, so breathlessness hua tha. But physically, I was able to move. There was nothing wrong physically. And I told them that I do not want to be sponged or given bedpan. In the morning, I want to go to the hospital room mein attached toilet, and these are branded hospitals, mind you, Asian Heart and Leelavati. But they said, "नहीं ma'am, आपको पलंग bed पे ही करना पड़ेगा." I said, "Why? You are treating my lungs. There is nothing wrong with my legs or back or कोई fracture ऐसा नहीं हुआ है. I'm feeling dirty to do everything because I'm used to using my washroom in my house. I have a shower, different shower chair, and as a hospital, you're supposed to have."
Yes.
But let me tell you, in spite of complaining to the main doctor, everything, they were hell bent कि नहीं ma'am, हमारे पास we do not have toilets to cater to wheelchair patients. Can you believe it? मतलब hospital में भी नहीं है. तो हम कहाँ, where am I expecting, कहाँ जाएं? If hospitals do not have it, where else can you expect it? That is the whole thing.
Having recently returned from abroad for a foreign trip, even a public toilet on the main road, if there are 3 washrooms, there is one which is disabled friendly. And Brigadier Basin mentioned about his foreign trip. So Brigadier Basin, could you share a little bit of your experience?
So yeah, the experience in USA, of course, was that wherever you went, I mean, like the best part was when my main attempt or my main effort that time was to go and see outbound places because I was into experiential learning. And I went to a camp, which is probably one of the best outdoor camps in the world. And every activity, there was a ramp for wheelchairs. And, there were activities designed for specially enabled people. It was very, very encouraging to see that. My cousin was taking me around, and even when we went to see San Francisco Bridge, I found that there was a ramp there. And I sort of noticed it, and I told him, "But yahan bhi ramp hai." He said, "Yahan koi jagah nahi hai jahan ramp nahi hai."
Nahi hai, yeah.
So, that is the way. Secondly, I want to tell you that I got very associated with this community of people. When I was in the army, and there is an organization of the Army Wives Welfare Association called ASHA.
Yeah.
And ASHA is run across the country at various cantonments for the disabled children of army officers, jawans, and all that. And, I took it on myself because I was commanding a supply depot, and I had a bakery, and we had the school, the Asha school, where there were about 15 children of different ages and all that. So I used to go, normally I used to have a cane in my hand. So they used to all, whenever I used to go, they used to sort of laugh and say, "Dande wala uncle aa gaya." And I used to take biscuits for them. It was my job to provide biscuits to them from my bakery as my little contribution, because they were in any case, the school was not at lunchtime. So it was, they were only about 3 hours there.
Yeah.
So they used to have a tea break and I told them, okay, I'll give you biscuits every day. I used to send them a weekly packet of biscuits of different varieties so that this is what I could do. But I started seeing how they behaved and all. Then when I was running this Empower camp, I had gone to DPS and met Mrs. Shama Chona to get her school for a camp to my place. And she said, तुम मेरे स्कूल की बात छोड़ो, पहले मेरे बच्चों के लिए कुछ कैंप कर सकते हो? So I didn't understand. She says, I run an NGO called, what is the name? It's named after her daughter.
Yeah.
I'm just forgetting the name. Can you do a program for them? And we had about 18 to 20 children. And this, I must tell you, my experience was so great. 18 to 20 children from Delhi came for this camp on the Bombay-Goa highway. They were children from the age of about 12 to the age of about 20. And first time I learned that when they gave me an Excel sheet, it said the physical age, the mental age. You know, because there were some children, like there was a guy who was 18 years old, but he used to behave like a 6-7-year-old guy. Okay. He had come with his parents. His father was also from the army, a serving colonel. And so first day when they came, so I went back to that lady who used to run Asha. She is a very good friend of mine. So I told her, I said, मेरे को बताओ कि ये बच्चे आ रहे हैं, मैंने इनको ऐसे कभी हैंडल नहीं किया जैसे तुमने किया इतने सालों तक. तो what would you recommend to me? What do I do? And you know, answer was, treat them as they are normal. उनको कभी अपने पूरे स्टाफ को बताना कि उनको कभी बोलो भी मत, मतलब don't show them, you know, उनको तरस मत खाना उनके ऊपर. Treat them as they are normal. Okay. So now the first day, there was one of these guys. He was in class 6. And again, he was actually in age, he was about 15, 16. I used to remember his name. I'm forgetting names today. So he caught hold of me and he caught hold of my arm, my wrist very, very tightly. I mean, it was hurting me. And he said, sir, you are my friend. I said, yeah, I am friend, but please leave my hand. He said, no, you are my friend. I said, yeah, accept. I'm absolutely your friend. किसने बोला मैं दोस्त नहीं हूँ, पर मेरा हाथ छोड़ दो. बोला नहीं, आप मेरे friend हैं. So then later on, the teacher explained to me कि इसको रात को बच्चे चिढ़ा रहे थे, डरा रहे थे कि यहाँ तो बड़े wild animals भी हैं, because it was an open place. So he thought कि okay, if I've got danger of wild animals, this guy owns, you know, he's the boss here. So यही मेरे को बचा सकता है. तो ये पकड़ के रखता था. Then there was something, we had flying fox and that zip line. So he's coming and asking me, sir, flying fox कब होगी? मैं कल होगी. फिर थोड़ी देर के बाद आगे पूछता था, flying fox कब होगी? मैं क्यों कहता मेरे को करनी है. मैं कहा हाँ करेंगे ना, कल करेंगे. But जब वो flying fox की बारी आई और बाकी बच्चों ने करना शुरू किया, he got scared. So he wouldn't go up. There was a rope ladder. You had to go up, and there was nothing wrong with him. He was only mentally enabled differently, but he was not physically. There was nothing wrong there. So वो दो ladder के steps लेके कहता है मैं नहीं जा सकता. मैं कहा अब तो जाना पड़ेगा. तूने कल से बोल रहा है तूने जाना है तो वापस नहीं आ सकता तो. And there's a belay rope and there's a person on top. So उसको मैंने इशारा किया खींचो उसको ऊपर. So there's a pressure going up, so he can't come down in any case. कहते हैं मेरे को प्यास लगी है. So मैंने उसको एक पानी का ग्लास भेज दिया. तो कहते नहीं इसमें कीड़े हैं. मैं कहा shut up, no कीड़े वीड़े, तो ब्लडी पी. जब ऊपर चला गया तो now he is not having the guts to come down. So मैंने इसको, मेरे जो लड़का था योगेश, मैंने कहा उसको थोड़ा सा इसको ना आगे push कर to the verge of the plank that he will then come down. So he says, sir, ये मेरे को धक्का दे रहा है. मैं कह नहीं, युवराज धक्का मत देना, उसको बस थोड़ा सा मदद करो. And he did this and he came down. He came down screaming with joy. When he landed up there, you know, he started telling everyone, मैंने flying fox किया है. वो वहां माली काम कर रहा था, माली को जाके पता, तेरे को पता है मैंने flying fox किया है. I saw the type of confidence he got that day that he can do anything and everything. And then I'll just tell you one more story where I still have goosebumps when I tell you that. I took the courage of taking these 18 children to build rafts and go into the water. They had to build their own raft with tires and tubes and all that, and they had to go into the water. So when they went into the water and they are going and they are just about 10 meters away from the shore and they have to go to the other end and bring their flags from there. This colonel and his, no, sorry, that happened later, the principal of the school, he walked up to me and he said, you know, usko thoda dar laga ki ye now they are all in the water, agar inki to reactions kuch ho gaya, agar koi, if it capsizes or something, these people will not be able to respond normally. Yes. There will be, you know, like mental slowness and things like that. तो कहीं घबरा ना जाएं बच्चे. So he said, sir, हमने इनको भेज तो दिया है, but मेरे को डर लग रहा है कि ये कहीं कुछ हो ना जाए. And I also realized that, yes, I've got lifeguards and all. Lifeguards will take care. But if, you know, the response from the other person could be slow and all, so what would I do? I just went behind. There were some bushes there. I literally went there, closed my eyes. I said, Bhagwan, मैंने इन बच्चों की भलाई के लिए किया है. Please save me, and don't let. Arey, these people, when they came back and when they were coming back, all safe and sound, and they were just about to touch our place, and we're taking a lot of videos and pictures and all. This colonel and his wife walked up to me. The colonel was saying something. The wife was speechless. She had only tears and tears. He said, sir, you taught us a lesson of our life. हम इसको बच्चे को 18 साल से बोल रहे हैं, तू ये नहीं कर सकता, बेटा तू ये मत करना, तू जरा स्टेयरकेस नीचे मत जाना. पिछले 5 दिनों में आपने दिखा दिया कि तू सब कुछ कर सकता है. कहते it was beyond my imagination that this man can build a raft, go into a raft and come back like this. He could do flying fox. He could do things like that. And then you must all read a book. There's a guy called Ritesh. He's from Rajasthan, posted in, living in Singapore. He's a keynote speaker. And let me tell you that he has written a book called Better Than Normal. And, you know, when we first met him, he came into a restaurant to meet. We were in PSAI. We were forming a PSA at that time. He walked in and he was, you know, walking like a drunk man. He talked like a drunk man. So then when it came to introducing everyone, he said, सब मेरे को पूछते हैं तू टल्ली है क्या? मैं बोलता हूँ नहीं, मैं टल्ली नहीं हूँ, वो डॉक्टर टल्ली था जिसने मेरी माँ का ऑपरेशन ठीक नहीं किया. So he was a cesarean and something had gone wrong and he was born with that problem. Okay. And then he says, I've written a book called Better Than Normal. What is it that I can't do? And for those who are from PSA, I will tell you, he charges $5,000 for a keynote and he's got a TEDx, which again says better than normal. Anyway, so I just wanted to share, I've had a lot of experience with this community. And I had once done a program where we had got Sudha Chandran and I went and met her. And she came and danced on that Nache Mayuri. She sang Long Gavacha with her amputed foot. And that time, you know, she said in Jaipur, we had this function in 1994. And she said, Bhagwan ne chaha to ek din main ye shabd Viklang dictionary se mita dungi. That was the type of mission she was on. And we had dedicated that event and all its earnings to Asha, our School of Disability.
Thank you, Brigadier Sir. Thank you for sharing these stories and experiences of our lives. Dr. Alka Chadda, a practicing doctor, 1 minute to you for your comments.
Sir, मैं बस सुन के I'm getting goosebumps actually. And Neenu, I just salute you for the work that you have been doing. And 35 years back when I was in Germany, my husband was studying there, and he called me. I had a baby of 8 or 9 months. So I said, "मैं नहीं आ सकती. How will I manage?" So he said, "Don't worry, everything is done here." Even to get into the train with the pram, it was so easy at that time. To get into the bus with the pram, 35 years back in Germany, it was so easy. And even at that time, everything was safe for the enabled, for the, what do you call it? I'm not able to tell the
Differently able.
yes, left for the differently able. So thank you so much for that, and I'm really inspired by your story of grit and your conviction that you have in yourself. And I think that we limit ourselves with small things. कभी हम कहते हैं कि हमारे ये problem है, हमारे को ये problem है, but you have gone through such a lot of problems and you have come out of that. So thank you so much for inspiring us. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Brenda just now disappeared. Brenda, 1 minute to you. You have your experience in working with these big, large organizations. Brenda, if you are around. We just lost her. Okay. So by the time she comes back, it is 13:38, 1:40, close to 1:40 on a Sunday afternoon. Our families will be waiting for us to join them with lunch on a Sunday afternoon. Let's take this opportunity to announce the 100th episode of Bloom, which is coming up next Sunday. Stay tuned, connect with us, get an invite at a special invitation price. Hope to see you all again on next Sunday at St. Regis. Over to you, Prem Raj, for the official closing.
Thank you, Neenu, for a very interactive session. We salute your courage and fortitude to fight the odds. Hats off to you and wish you joy and happiness in all your endeavors. Looking forward to meeting you again on the Bloom platform. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone,
so
and God bless us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Neelu, I'm also close by in Bandra. Let's plan to meet again.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye everyone.
Bye everyone.
Yes.